You have zero memories of your first 3 years alive, and that gap is exactly why you flinch when someone raises their voice, why you either lean into closeness or brace against it, why your body decides you're safe before your brain even weighs in. You can't call up a single one of those years. Can't describe it. Can't prove any of it happened. But it's still running you. Today. Here's the one-sentence version. Your brain didn't lose your first 3 years, it converted them into something you can't recall but can't stop obeying. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that conversion was, not a memory. A setting. Ask someone why we don't remember being babies, and you'll get one of two answers. Babies don't really form memories yet. Or, it's just too far back, it faded. Both sound reasonable. Both are wrong. Newborns recognize their mother's voice within days. A 6-month-old can remember a toy from a game played weeks earlier. The memory system isn't offline in infancy. It's working. So if it's working, where did 3 years of your life actually go? Think of your 1-year-old brain as a construction site. Most of it is already built and running. But one part is still unfinished, call it the archive, and in your brain that's the hippocampus. The hippocampus is what turns experience into a story you can retell. We went to the park, there was a dog, it was sunny. That's explicit memory, and it depends on this one structure finishing its build. Except in early childhood, it never finishes. Picture a library that keeps rebuilding its own shelves before anyone finishes cataloging the books, new neurons flooding in constantly, a process called neurogenesis, each wave partially overriding whatever filing system was there before. So the memories weren't lost. They were never filed in the first place. That's usually where these explainers stop. Mystery solved, hippocampus wasn't ready, end of video. But that's actually the boring half of the story. Because while the archive was still under construction, another part of your brain was already fully wired, and it never stopped taking notes. This is your implicit memory system, emotional associations, body responses, gut-level patterns of safety and threat. Structures like the amygdala mature far earlier than the hippocampus. They don't need language. They don't need a date or a location. They only need one answer, asked thousands of times, was this safe, or wasn't it? Picture it concretely, you're in a crib, in the dark, and you start to cry. Somewhere past a door, footsteps, or no footsteps. That single moment means nothing on its own, but multiply it by hundreds of nights, hundreds of doors, hundreds of decisions about whether footsteps come. You won't remember any single one of those nights. But your brain tracked the pattern across all of them. Did comfort show up when you cried, or didn't it? Was affection steady, or did it depend on someone's mood that day? None of that got stored as a memory you could describe. It got stored as a setting. Here's the reframe worth sitting with. Infantile amnesia isn't your brain failing to hold onto your early years. It's your brain deciding those years didn't need to be stored as footage. A single afternoon doesn't need to survive 50 years. But, is the world generally safe or generally unpredictable? That's the kind of conclusion worth building a whole life on. So your brain didn't keep the footage. It kept the verdict. Which means that flinch when someone raises their voice near you. The way you either lean into closeness or brace against it. The baseline hum of, the world is fine, or, the world is not fine, a real amount of that isn't personality you were simply born with. It's a summary your brain wrote before you could read. Most people picture a toddler as basically empty. Cute, reactive, nothing sticking yet. Nothing to lose, so nothing to worry about. Picture two toddlers in two different houses. Same age, same cries, same 3 a.m. wake-ups, but in one house, someone comes every time. In the other, it depends on the night. One of the longest-running studies on this, the Minnesota Longitudinal Study of Risk and Adaptation, has followed people like these since the early 1970s, starting before they were even born and tracking them into their 40s. When researchers compared how these people had been cared for as infants to how they went on to care for their own kids decades later, the connection wasn't small. How you were parented predicted, in a measurable way, how you'd parent, a pattern that held up even after accounting for everything else going on in someone's life. Not fate. Not perfect. But a starting condition nobody consciously chose, and one you can actually put a number on. The toddler you can't remember being was already quietly deciding what kind of adult you'd expect the world to let you be. That might land uneasy, like you've been running on settings you never agreed to. Settings you couldn't even open the panel to inspect, until now. Here's the more useful way to hold it. These patterns weren't written as facts. They were written as best guesses, your brain's earliest attempt to model the world with almost no data. And guesses can be updated. That's the actual mechanism behind why therapy works, why secure relationships change people, why new experience in adulthood can measurably shift attachment patterns that were set before you could form a single conscious memory. You can't edit a memory you don't have access to. But you can absolutely hand that old pattern new evidence, until it updates itself. So next time someone says, "I don't remember anything before I was 3, isn't that weird?" you'll know the real answer. It's not a glitch. It's not even really a loss. It's a translation. Your brain took 3 years of raw, unfiled experience and compressed it into something more durable than memory, a default setting for how much you trust the world. You didn't lose your childhood. You've been fluent in it this whole time, so fluent, you forgot it was ever a language you had to learn. You forgot the memories. Your brain kept the lessons. If you want to uncover more, subscribe.